Froggy Love Daddy is one of the classic lines from this classic comedy which we're looking at tonight in our Gene Wilder week. We're looking at the new 4K release of Blazing Saddles, a Mel Brooks film starring obviously Gene Wilder. Now this is a comedy western and it's based upon a small town called Rockridge that's in the middle of this area which they want to build a railway track, and the evil sort of governor and his merry band of bandits want to get rid of the people folk in the town so they can build the rail track through Rockridge. And the film sort of starts off as we see them building the railway, when we see the sort of like all the sort of slavery at the time, where you see the sort of black men and Chinese men being used for slave labour, and we see the sort of bandits sort of they're poking fun out of them, wanting them to sing a song. One of them said, "Come on, sing one of your old songs," and they start singing "I Get a Kick Out of You," Frank Sinatra song. And they said, no, we want one of the old songs like the Camptown Lady. And then they start singing it, and then they start getting laughed at themselves. And then their sort of boss, played by Slim Pickens, turns up. And he asks them what they're doing. He says, well, we can't build any further because I think there's quicksand ahead. Should we send a couple of horses? And he goes, no, don't send horses, they're too expensive. Send a couple of black guys. Oh, Jesus. It's not politically correct, this film, but it's of its time. And the world wasn't such a sort of like a place where everything was offensive. And if you don't get offended, then this film is hilarious. It's fantastic. Anyway, so him and his one and our main character, he goes off with his other guy on this sort of like railed sort of truck where they both got a pump each side, and they end up finding the quicksand and start sinking down. And then when they see it sinking, the Slim Pickens gets him to lasso out the truck and leaves the two black dudes in there. But so they manage to get their way out, and our main character's had enough, and he then goes and whacks Slim Pickens on the back of the head with a shovel, and he gets sort of like taken away to be sort of like executed. Then we join the town of Rockridge, and we see the folk there, and they're talking about the town and how it's all changed and gone downhill. And we see the sort of bandits looting through the town and sort of beating up the local folk, trying to scare them off and all this sort of thing. And we then jump to the sort of like the main city where we meet Hedley DeMar, who's like one of the main bosses, and he's trying to find a solution to getting the people out of Rockridge. He's there having a meeting with Slim Pickens, and outside there's all these different wonderful characters being hung by this Quasimodo-like sort of hunchback who's the executioner. It's a very bizarre film, but it's an amazing film. And they're trying to find a solution to the problem. And their solution is, let's send this black dude to Rockridge as the new sheriff, because the sheriff got killed on the last bandit raid. So they send him off to to the town, and they're all there waiting to meet him, and they've got all this sort of like like this big band stand up, and they've got speeches. I'd like to offer you a laurel and hearty handshake. It's just brilliant one-liners throughout the whole film. And they got all these sort of thing, and and then when he arrives and they see that the guy's a black dude, they also the band stops playing, everything just sort of goes a bit crazy. Anyway, he then goes into the town and into his jail, his place. And who should be in jail but our main man, Gene Wilder. He's playing the Waco Kid. He's in the jail because he's a drunk now. Apparently he used to be the fastest gunslinger in the West, and now he's there in jail, and he befriends our new sheriff, and they build up sort of like a friendship. So are the bandits going to take over Rockridge? Is our sheriff and the Waco Kid going to be the heroes and save the day? You need to find it and watch out. What do I think the film? The film is amazing. It's a classic. It's an absolute essential watch. Really, really cool. Now, the pluses and minuses of this edition. The 4K transfer looks really nice. It's really vibrant and colourful, but there is still some blur on the film. I noticed in like most of the scenes, it's a little off on the little bit blurry, which is a little bit strange. This is a Technicolor film, and most Technicolor films tend up to be really, the clarity seems to be really, really cool and sharpness, but this has got like a sort of blur going through it, which didn't really take it out from the film. And there is other shots when it's not so blurred, and it looks absolutely stunning. They cleaned the print up really well. Hasn't got much noise or sort of grain in the film. But there is some natural grain there, which is fine. But it's that sort of blurriness that's a little bit off-putting. So that's the only negative of the transfer. The sound's great, the film is wonderful, and the acting is amazing. Really, really cool. So I'm going to score the film an essential watch and give it a 10 out of 10. The 4K, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. This is a film you need to own. You have to have this in your collection. But I wouldn't go out my way to buy the 4K. A Blu-ray, I think, would be suffice, to be honest, because I know that my Blu-ray transfer is really good, and it has less blur on it than the 4K. But apart from that, it does look wonderful in 4K. I mean, it's amazing how well this film looks. But I always thought Westerns are going to be one of the films that are going to shine in 4K, and a lot of them do. Like The Unforgiven looks stunning. The Revenant looks absolutely amazing. You know, and there's some amazing. I want to see Rio Bravo in 4K because that's got a release. I want to see that in 4K. So I just think that this was a little disappointing in the transfer. So that's why I've scored the 4K release as an 8 out of 10. But the actual film is an essential watch, a 10 out of 10. A little confusing, but you know what I mean. But if you've got a 4K player, you might want to pick it up on 4K, just add it to your collection. It's a nice sort of package release. It comes with a slipcase, nothing else. There's no real things to sort of like shout about it. Extra features, they're quite minimal, to be honest. But you know, I really look forward to picking this up. I just think, it's one of my favourite films, comedies of all time. So I really want to upgrade it to 4K. And HMV, I think, did release a collector's edition, which was about £65. I just went for the standard one, which was 20 quid. I'm kind of glad I did, really, because I think I would have been a little bit peeved to got a bit of a transfer that's a little bit blurred. But doesn't take it away from the film. It's not blurry enough where it's not enjoyable. It's just, you just notice it a little bit, you know, because when you're looking, like when I'm watching it to review it, I want to give you guys the crystal clear clarity of the film. And so that's why I see a little bit of blur in it, which I think could take it out of you. But if you're not looking for that, you probably won't see it. Blazing Saddles, 10 out of 10. Any of you guys seen it? If you have, let me know down below. It is one of Gene Wilder's fantastic, amazing films. He's done amazing films, guys. Not all of them with Richard Pryor. The other two this week will be Richard Pryor films, but he's done Young Frankenstein. He's done Haunted Honeymoon. He's done a few films with Woody Allen. He's done so many amazing films, and this is sensational. Really, really cool to see him in this Western. So that's brilliant. So that's the first one over for this week. And the next one we're going to look at is going to be on my new box set, which I've got here. And we're going to be looking at two of them from here. We're going to be looking at Stir Crazy and See No Evil, Hear No Evil. So we're going to be looking at these two throughout this week. So that's going to be our Gene Wilder week. And this is our first one. Blazing Saddles, 10 out of 10. Cheers, guys.